Hi, good morning, dear students. This is your English teacher Shahzad is with you. Today we'll continue with our topic conjunctions. Yesterday we discussed what is conjunction and we discussed there are three types of conjunctions. Today we'll discuss in detail subordinating conjunctions and there are some sub uh, types of subordinating conjunctions. We'll discuss them in detail today. So, as you know that subordinating conjunction is the third type of conjunction. So, let's see what is subordinating conjunction. A subordinating conjunction is a subordinate clause. A subordinating conjunction joins, a subordinating conjunction joins a subordinate clause and a main clause. You know, clauses are group of words with a subject and a verb. So the joining words which are used to join two clauses, they are called subordinating conjunctions. You need to know the difference between subordinate clause and main clause. A subordinate clause is a group of words with a subject and a verb that cannot stand alone. It means that it is a group of words. When you say it, the listener will expect something more from you. When the meanings are not complete. For example, when I entered in the class, if I don't say anything after it, I cannot give the full meaning. And the listener, the audience will expect something more from me. They want to know that what happened next. When I entered in the class, the students were on their seats. So the second part is called main clause and the first part of the sentence is called subordinate clause. Why? Because when I only say when I entered in the class, you want to listen something more from me, that what happened next when I entered in the class. So when I entered in the class, students were on their seats. Now we'll see what is main clause. Main clause, unlike a dependent or subordinate clause, can stand alone as a sentence. A main clause is also known as independent clause. Now on your screen, you can see some common subordinating conjunctions. Please read all these subordinating conjunctions carefully. What's the purpose of subordinating conjunctions? Actually, subordinating conjunctions start a subordinate clause in a sentence. So we'll see that there are several kinds of subordinating conjunctions. Subordinating conjunction, first of all, we'll discuss subordinating conjunctions expressing time. For example, before, since, till, after, etc. Here is an example. The train had left before we reached the station. This sentence has two parts. This sentence is divided into two parts. One is the principal clause, or you can say main clause, and the second is subordinate clause. The train had left. This is the principal clause, main clause, and the subordinate clause in the sentence is before we reached the station. As we discussed that the subordinate clause starts with a subordinating conjunction, so before is a subordinating conjunction and our subordinate clause starts with subordinating conjunctions. Now here we have some more examples, sentences related to subordinating conjunctions of time. Please, you have some time to read all these examples carefully. In these three sentences, the word till, after, and since, they are subordinating conjunctions. Now we have another type of conjunction, subordinating conjunctions of place. These are the words, or these are the conjunctions. They tell us about the place. I shall go wherever I want to. Here the word wherever is a subordinating conjunction. It talks about the place. Next, we have subordinating conjunctions of purpose. Examples are that, lest, in order, that. We use them to show a purpose of an action, that why someone has done something. As in this example, you can see the bold words that, in order that, and lest. They are subordinating conjunctions of purpose. Look at the example, we eat that we may live. Second example, play games. Why? In order that your health may improve. Number 3, study hard lest you should fail. In all these sentences, subordinating conjunctions have been used to talk about a purpose of an action, that why someone is doing something. Next we have subordinating conjunctions of reason. For example, as, because, since. We use them to show the reason of an action, like why something has happened. If you look at example number 2, for example, he was promoted because he was efficient. It answers the question why he was promoted. In example 3, as he was not ready, we left without him. Here word as is introducing the subordinating conjunction of reason. Next we have subordinating conjunctions of result or consequence. Examples are so that. He was so weak that he could hardly walk. She ate so much that she fell ill. Like someone has done something and in a result another action has happened. Two actions are connected with each other. If something happens, the other thing has happened because of the first action. It was so hot that we couldn't go out. There was a reason. It was so hot. So they could not go out. So this is the consequence. As the weather was hot, they couldn't go out. Next we have subordinating conjunctions of condition. I will go abroad if I get a good job. He won't help you unless you ask him. In these are the words, they introduce a condition, that one action depends on the other action. It looks as if it might rain. These are the examples of subordinating conjunctions of condition. Next we have subordinating conjunctions of concession or contrast. Examples are though and although, even if. I'll not forgive him, even if he apologizes. Although he is ill, he is always cheerful. Although he works hard, he doesn't earn so much. These are the examples of subordinating conjunctions of concession or contrast. They show the contrast of the action. Next we have subordinating conjunctions of comparison. For example, then. He is taller than I am. I'm as healthy as you are. Here the word as and then are subordinating conjunctions of comparison.